Well, today in court, a former Horseshoe Casino official testified that Cook County Commissioner William Beavers was a VIP customer that gambled at least $500,000 a year. It was the first day of testimony in the federal case where prosecutors alleged that Beavers spent tens of thousands of dollars in campaign funds for personal use, including gambling. Beavers' lawyers fired back earlier this week, making accusations of racism in the jury selection process. So let's explore that. Joining me now is Jury Consultant Alexandra Rudolph of Rudolph Trial Consulting. She's live at Trib Tower. Alexandra, good evening. Welcome to Politics Tonight.
Thank you. Good evening to you.
And it's a field, of course, that fascinates me. Our viewers know I'm also a jury consultant, as you are, and so it's a great field. Let me ask you this. The charges of racism, because there were no African Americans in the pool, was that planned, or is that just the luck of the draw, the strange luck of the draw?
Well, you know, I think it certainly is unusual. Everyone would agree to that. But only 25% of Cook County is African American, according to the U.S. Census of 2011. So I think there may be a bit more of a perception that this is a heavily African American venue than it is. So it's a bit more understandable why more African Americans weren't in the jury pool, though certainly were underrepresented.
So the prosecution taking some time to create, and as a jury consultant, you help lawyers create the stories, the themes of their case. So here we're getting this image of Commissioner Beavers, the gambler, tons of money, borrowing money. Well, is that relevant to whether or not he broke the law in this case by not paying taxes on gambling on political dollars used?
Well, certainly the impression that he gives is going to play out with the jurors. Absolutely. We all come in with our biases, and what we bring to the table is our personal experience. So those who may view him as more flamboyant and the not to be messed with attitude may feel that it's more likely that he appropriated funds and knew it or should have known.
Now, Beavers, of course, keeps saying, I'm going to get on the stand, I'm going to talk. I'm going to ask you about that, but before I do, the theory Beavers has is I didn't do anything. Whatever money I borrowed, I paid back. It's all proper. This was all about me wearing a wire to try and get Commissioner John Daly. It's a story that either is true or comes out of nowhere. I'm not sure which. So my question is, once again, jurors have a job to do. Can we count on jurors doing that job of taking a look at the actual charges that are against Beavers, or are all of these stories sort of brought in by the jurors to sort of say, well, maybe that's what happened here? Are they relevant charges, issues?
Well, what we see off and on, well, actually consistently in our jury research, and I'm sure you may have seen it as well, is it's incredible how even in mock juries, they take it extremely seriously, and they take their job seriously, and they want to do a good job. So I would expect the timing of events in this case to be critical to how jurors perceive the case and decide it.
About the question of Beavers testifying, look, I've talked about this on air, and I've just come right out and said he's not going to testify. But at the same time, if he doesn't testify, unless Judge Zagel changes his mind, he's not going to get that information. And we just talked about you know, having to wear a wire or being asked to wear a wire for other people. What is your thought? Talk to viewers about whether it's smart for criminal defendants to testify, why they typically don't.
Well, sometimes it's obviously the decision between the client and the lawyer. If you have someone who you're afraid to put on the stand that they may actually impeach themselves or be seen as not credible, then better safe than sorry. In this particular case, I would be interested to see what happens as the case unfolds, and if he does testify, because his demeanor's changed a bit in court. He's gone from being quite outspoken and with some very flamboyant quotes to really passing it along to his lawyer and approaching more of a quiet demeanor in court. So it's going to be interesting.
Do you have
to see
a sense,
what happens.
if you were his lawyer in this case, would you, I mean, given what you know, and you only know what we know publicly, but would you advise him to testify, or would you say, let's see if the prosecution proves their case?
You know, I don't want to veer too much into witch doctor territory here, but it's, you know, the lawyer will have a much better handle on his demeanor and how much of his story he wants to tell versus Beavers personally. Certainly, if Beavers does take the stand, he has quite a bit of explaining to do, and that will be critical in the outcome of this case and how jurors perceive it.
Just half a moment left, but I assume you would agree the jurors certainly would like to hear from Beavers. They always want to hear from the defendant, don't they?
Absolutely. He's the star of the show.
That's true. But of course, he's got to be a star of the show who can be kept under control as well, right? That's always the risk of somebody telling their story out of control from the lawyer, a dangerous thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to make sure that you're measured.
All right. Alexandra Rudolph, one of the fine jury consultants here in the city of Chicago of Rudolph Trial Consulting. And of course, you prepare these witnesses to testify. So we'll continue to chat with you as this case unfolds. Thanks so much, and you have a great weekend.
Thank you.
It's been 1 year since former Governor Rod Blagojevich began his 14-year prison sentence for corruption. After the break, we'll give you the latest on his appeal and the heartfelt message his wife Patty has for the family's supporters. We'll be right back.